Single mom brings daughter to work. Millionaire CEO stunned by her heartwarming PE talent discover how. The diner buzzed with life, a colorful array of chatter, sizzling griddles, and the smell of fresh coffee that wafted through the air. Sarah, a 30-year-old single mother, moved like a well-oiled machine, her apron stained but her spirit unbroken. She weaved through clusters of booths and tables, balancing plates piled high with pancakes and burgers, her heart racing as she juggled the demands of her waitressing job. Today, she had a challenge unlike any other. Her daughter Lily, an 8-year-old bundle of shy energy, was with her. Just this morning, the daycare had suddenly closed, leaving Sarah no choice but to bring Lily to the diner. That nagging worry gnawed at her. How could she pay attention to work and keep an eye on her daughter? But the moment she saw Lily perched in a corner booth, her little legs swinging nervously, something deep inside her shifted. Hope flickered amidst the chaos. As the afternoon sun poured through the window, casting a golden glow across the cafe, everything changed. The jukebox in the corner crackled to life, playing a catchy tune. Without thinking, Lily's feet began to tap. Sarah glanced back just in time to see her daughter dancing, shyness melting away like butter on hot pancakes. Those small, timid steps turned into twirls, her little arms lifting high, catching the light in a way that stole everyone's attention. Among the diners was Tom, the local millionaire CEO, immersed in his thoughts. When he looked up and saw Lily, something inside him cracked open. She wasn't just dancing, she was pouring her heart out, unbothered by the world watching, lost in her rhythm. Tom, who prided himself on dismissing such things, felt a warmth spreading through his chest. He found himself captivated by this innocent display of talent and joy, but Sarah felt the weight of responsibility mounting. She was torn between pursuing her dreams for Lily, a future filled with dance and opportunity, and the relentless grind of her everyday life. Each night, she would lay in bed, exhausted, worrying that she could never provide the life her daughter deserved. Just then, she glanced at Tom again, hoping the moment would spark some magic for him to see the potential in Lily the way she did. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when it seemed like Tom would leap into action, offering the support Sarah and Lily desperately needed, a flicker of skepticism crossed his face. He was a businessman through and through, and his past experiences whispered doubts into his ear. Could such talent exist in this setting? He pulled away mentally, distancing himself from their world. It was a gut-wrenching moment, the joy that filled the diner suddenly cloaked by misunderstanding. At that moment, Sarah felt her world tilt. The laughter and energy died down as an unseen wall built itself between them. Would they forever be marked by the scars of bias and missed chances? She held Lily's gaze, bright and hopeful despite the darkening clouds around them. As Tom wrestled with his thoughts, the diner continued to buzz, their lives intermingling yet separate, leaving Sarah's heart pounding in desperation. Would she figure out how to shield her daughter's dreams from the harsh realities they faced? Would Tom shatter the barriers of judgment that held him back? The door swung open, the sound echoing like a beginning, a new chapter inching closer, yet still so far away. The moment hung in the air, thick with unspoken possibilities. Sarah took a deep breath, trying to shake off the doubts settling in her stomach. She wanted to shout from the counter, to say, "Look at her. She's truly something special." But fear choked her voice, binding her thoughts. Lily continued to dance, her face alight with laughter. A moment so precious, fleeting like a summer breeze, yet it captured the eyes of every diner present. For a heartbeat, the room pulsed with joy, but when she stole a glance at Tom, all she could see was his frown, his hands steepled deep in concentration. It pierced her heart. "Mommy?" Lily called, slowing her movements. A flicker of uncertainty crossed her little face as if she could sense the tension too. Am I still dancing well? Sarah hurried to her daughter's side, kneeling so they were eye level. You're dancing beautifully, sweetie. Keep going. Lily smiled again, and with a renewed burst of energy, she twirled, her dress swirling around her. Tom couldn't help but be drawn back into the moment, but the shadows of doubt still loomed heavy in his mind. Maybe she's just a cute kid dancing, he whispered to himself, fighting the urge to get up. Yet, a part of him was intrigued. Was there something deeper here? Around them, a few patrons exchanged glances. An older woman with gray hair smiled, her eyes shimmering with nostalgia. A couple in the corner leaned in closer, whispering about the magic of youth. Small ripples of support began to surface, but none knew how to shatter the deeper barrier that held Tom back. Let me show you a move, Lily exclaimed, digging her heels into the ground and puffing her chest with childish determination. This declaration drew another round of laughter from the patrons, but Tom's face remained drawn. He was trapped in a spiral of experiences that raced through his mind. He remembered rejecting talent before, neglecting the raw and the genuine. Business brought responsibility, a hardened facade, one that constantly protected his heart from potential pain. But as the music peaked, something shifted. Tom's resolve began to crack as he caught a glimpse of Sarah, her face painted with pride and trepidation. The contrast to Lily's innocence tugged at his conscience. What if I'm wrong? He thought, grappling with the possibilities. What would you do with a talent like that? He muttered under his breath, tossing the question into the ether. He was now contemplating not just her drive, but the kind of life Lily might have away from this diner, if only someone believed in her. As Sarah looked toward Tom, the weight of her dreams pressed heavily upon her shoulders. What could she do if Tom finally took a step? If he, a figure of success and wealth, saw that child and recognized both her talent and her worth? Lily's laughter rang clear once more, drawing her mother back into the moment, snapping the web of longing thoughts. Sarah wasn't just dancing, she was creating a memory that might one day shift the course of lives. Then, as if awakened, Tom leaned forward, his heart racing. Did he dare? Would he? The door swung open again. A blast of cool air announced another newcomer. A new opportunity? Or another potential distraction? The mood shifted as patrons turned to see the figure approach the counter, masks of anticipation on their faces. Would it be the moment that decided everything for Sarah and Lily, or a simple interruption that would push their dreams further away? All eyes turned toward the door, leaving lingering questions hanging in the air, waiting to be answered. The door swung wide, and in stepped a tall figure draped in a tailored coat, the kind that caught attention immediately. The chatter in the diner faded to a hush as patrons tried to make sense of the sudden intrusion. The newcomer surveyed the room, eyes skimming over the usual patrons before landing on the source of commotion, a small girl dancing in the middle of the diner. Tom straightened up, his frown deepening. There was something familiar about this man, the same ambitious spark that had once driven him. The wind whispered potential change as he stepped forward, crossing the distance from the door to the counter where Sarah stood with Lily. Is that your daughter? The man asked, an eyebrow raised in curiosity. The question seemed to spark a flicker of hope in Sarah's chest. Perhaps this was not just another interruption. Perhaps he could see what Tom first failed to recognize. Yeah, that's Lily, she answered, her voice barely breaking the silence, filled with pride and a hint of uncertainty. The man nodded, eyes following Lily as she spun with abandon, her laughter ringing like a sweet melody. She's got quite the talent. How long has she been dancing like this? Since she could walk, Sarah replied, a soft smile forming as she glanced at her daughter, twirling blissfully. She loves it more than anything. Tom watched the man, gauging his reaction. Was he genuine? Or just another suit looking to make a deal? Yet, even his hardened heart felt the warmth spreading through the room, kindling hope amid the icy doubt. Suddenly, the man stepped closer to the performers. Lily, he called out, and instantly, her eyes lit up at the sound of recognition from a stranger. Would you show me that move again? The diner held its collective breath, hearts dancing with anticipation. With a burst of confidence, Lily spun on her tiny toes, her dress a blur of color, her beaming smile infectious. As the little girl danced, Tom's mind raced. This man, whose aura brimmed with ambition, could be the very break Sarah had dreamed of. But with that thought came anxiety. What did success at the cost of innocence look like? Why don't you have her perform at the community center? The man suggested, enthusiasm washing over his features. I'm sure they would love to have her for an event. Tom's heart sank. It was too much too fast. But for Sarah, standing on the edge of this newfound possibility, the idea sparked something deep inside her. Really? You think that's a good idea? Absolutely. There's talent in her. People need to see it. With those words, Sarah felt a surge of hope that nearly knocked her off her feet. Could this be the moment she had longed for? It felt surreal and bittersweet, the thought of Lily being thrust into the spotlight, potentially losing her childhood in the process. Lily, what do you think? Sarah asked, kneeling beside her daughter, who still wore the joy of her dance. Can I, Mommy? Can I show everyone my moves? Tom's heart raced. How could he voice his fears without dousing the fire of possibility? And yet, there was something electric in the air, a connection building between the man, Sarah, and Lily, promising a chance for something beautiful, but also terrifying. As they all awaited Lily's answer, every second felt like it stretched into eternity, waiting to snap at any moment as the door swung open again behind them, ready to usher in yet another wave of uncertainty. What new arrival would walk in and change everything once more? The door swung open with a creak, and a middle-aged woman burst into the diner, her eyes wild with urgency. She clutched a brown envelope to her chest, and she looked around frantically. The previous hush transformed into a wave of curiosity as patrons turned their heads, drawn to the newcomer. "Excuse me," she shouted, her voice piercing through the tranquil atmosphere. "Is this where the auditions for the community center are being held?" Tom met Sarah's gaze, his heart pounding. The tension in the air was thick, a blend of anxiety and excitement that seemed to radiate from Lily, still unaware of the whirlwind unfolding around her. "Yes, it is," the tall man in the coat replied smoothly, his voice steady despite the unease settling into the diner. "What is your name?" "Clara," she said, visibly catching her breath. I'm sorry, I came as soon as I heard about it. My son, he's got so much talent," and her words tumbled out like a stream, interrupted only by the longing for validation in her eyes. The man gestured for her to calm down. "Take a seat. You don't look like you're from around here, but what kind of talent are we talking about?" "He's a singer," Clara replied, now sounding somewhat composed. "Really good. I mean, he has this voice that can light up a room. We need a break. We've been struggling." Sarah felt a pang of understanding, and doubt washed over her. Could this be an omen, or was it simply chaos unraveling further? The competition seemed fierce already, with Lily's dance moving to the forefront. Lily, still glowing from attention, bounced on her feet. "Mommy, can I meet him? I want to dance with him." Before Sarah could respond, the man smiled widely. "That's the spirit, kiddo. Why don't we see if we can set up a little performance?" Tom felt a mix of admiration and protective dread surge through him. There was something undeniably attractive about this moment, but it felt precarious as well. This wonderful invitation opened up stakes that he wasn't sure they were ready to take on. "Clara, you should connect with them," he finally said, trying to guide both women toward what felt like a branching opportunity. "Your son has potential, but it's a big leap. It's not just about a performance, it's about setting them on a path and all of the pressure that comes with it." Clara nodded, but her eyes sparked with genuine enthusiasm. "I have to try, right? If he could just get his foot in the door, Mommy?" Lily interrupted, her voice rising ever so slightly, drawing all eyes to her. "Are you happy?" The question caught them off guard. Clara's urgency fell silent, replaced by the innocence of a child seeking reassurance. Sarah exchanged glances with Tom, her heart aching at the weight of the moment. "Sweetheart, I want to make sure you're happy too." Lily's eyes were alight with eagerness. "I will be. Can I dance with him?" As each adult pondered Lily's future, The tall man smiled and nodded, sensing the potential that lay before them. The tension shifted, and suddenly the air felt lighter, filled with possibility. But then, in the growing silence, there came the unmistakable sound of a phone ringing loud, demanding attention. Clara fumbled for her phone, and as she glanced at the screen, her face drained of color. "Oh no," she whispered. Tom leaned closer, compelled by instinct. "What is it?" Clara barely managed to meet his gaze, her voice collapsing as she replied, "It's my husband, he wants to talk." The revelation hung in the air, heavy with tension, as everything shifted once more. Who was this man, and what did his call mean for Clara's dreams and for Lily's journey? As they all awaited her response, the stakes had never felt higher. Clara's fingers trembled as she held the phone, torn between wanting to answer and the fear that flooded her heart. What could her husband want? The last thing they needed was more chaos. "Clara?" The tall man's voice cut through her thoughts, calm and steady. "Do you need to take that?" She nodded, swallowing hard. "Just a moment," she murmured, stepping away from the group. As she moved to a quieter corner of the diner, her heart raced. A host of emotions swirled inside her, dread, worry, and a flicker of hope. "Hello?" Clara said, trying to keep her voice even. "Clara, what's going on?" The voice of her husband, Marcus, was strained, and the weight of it pressed heavy on her chest. "We're at the diner," she replied, glancing back at Tom, Sarah, and Lily. "There's an audition for the community center audition? You know we can't afford distractions like that right now." His tone was sharp, cutting through her. "Marcus," she hesitated, not wanting to spark another argument. "This could be our chance." "If David can get noticed, all you care about is chasing dreams," he interrupted. "You don't see how hard things are for us. We don't have time for this nonsense." Clara felt the sting of tears. Dreams were all she had to hold on to, the flickering light in the dark. "I'm doing this for David, not just me. He's talented, and he needs this opportunity. We need something good." Silence followed, and Clara held her breath. She could almost hear the gears in Marcus's mind turning. "Your dreams, they'll lead him nowhere. We have to be realistic." "Realistic?" Clara's voice broke, and she gripped the phone tightly. "What about happiness? Isn't that worth something? For all of us?" The silence stretched until Marcus finally spoke again, his voice lower, almost distant. "I just don't want him to get disappointed." With a deep breath, Clara took a chance. "Then let him try. I promise I won't let him fall. We'll figure this out together." Another beat of silence followed. "Fine," he murmured reluctantly. "But if this goes south, I understand," Clara replied softly, her heart racing with hope and fear. As she ended the call, her instincts kicked back in. She had to return to the group, but emotions churned inside her like a storm. She found herself longing more than ever for something beautiful and pure, a chance for her son, yes, but also validation for herself. When she stepped back, Tom and Sarah looked up expectantly. Lily bounced on her feet, excitement bubbling. "Mommy, did you talk to him?" Clara took a breath, feeling lighter somehow. "I did. And you know what? We're going to give this a shot. Can you dance with David?" "Yes," Lily said with enthusiasm, her eyes sparkling like stars. Tom smiled, sensing the shift in energy. "That's the spirit. Let's get everyone together." The tall man clapped his hands, rallying the patrons. "All right, folks. We've got a performance to set up. How about we make a variety show?" Laughter erupted, and Tom helped organize the chairs in a circle. Clara's heart began to swell with belief, courage, and a flicker of excitement. While everyone prepared, Clara glanced outside the diner's window. Clouds hung low, but she found herself wishing for sunshine. Something had changed. The weight on her shoulders felt lighter. "Clara, are you okay?" Sarah's voice broke through her thoughts, genuine concern etched on her face. "I think I am." "Maybe it's time to take a leap," Clara replied, a small smile spreading across her lips. But just as anticipation buzzed in the air, Clara's phone buzzed again. It was another message from Marcus. As she read the words, dread washed over her anew. What if this latest twist was the thing that would pull them apart instead of bringing them together? The performance was about to begin, and hope hung in the balance. But Clara knew one thing for sure. She wasn't backing down without a fight. Would this moment be the push they needed toward a brighter future, or was it just a glimmer of false hope? Clara had no answers, only the stirring of determination within her as the crowd gathered. As the music started, she took her place. Nerves jittering, ready to step into the spotlight, whatever that meant for their lives moving forward. Clara stood under the soft glow of the diner's bright lights, her heart pounding in sync with the rhythm of the music. The moment felt electric. The tables filled with patrons, laughter and whispers filling the air, but all Clara could focus on was the spotlight above her. It wasn't just a chance for David, it was a chance for them all. As the first few notes floated through the air, Clara cast a quick glance at David. He stood off to the side, a mixture of excitement and nerves evident on his face. Lily bounced beside him, her little body vibrating with energy. It took everything in Clara not to smile too wide. She didn't want to distract David. "Remember, just have fun," she whispered to him, her voice almost lost in the upbeat melody that started to take over. The crowd settled down, eyes glued to the stage as Tom stepped forward to introduce David. Clara couldn't make out all his words, but he was warm and welcoming, setting a hopeful tone. With each word, Clara's nerves faded a little more, replaced by that flicker of hope she'd been holding onto so tightly. When David stepped onto the makeshift stage, Clara felt a lump forming in her throat. Pride surged through her, mingled with fear. Had she made the right call? Was Marcus right to worry? But then David took a deep breath. Clara watched as he flashed a confident smile and began his dance. His movements flowed like water, free and unrestrained, and Clara found herself lost in the joy he exuded. The diner transformed with each graceful turn, each leap, as if the entire world had shifted to match the beat of his performance. Laughter erupted when Lily danced alongside him, mimicking his steps in her own adorable way. Clara joined in their joy, clapping along to the rhythm, and for a moment, every earlier doubt faded away. This was their moment. Yet, like a shadow creeping back, Clara felt that familiar weight when her phone buzzed again. The reminder of Marcus lingered, but she pushed it aside, focusing instead on the smiles around her. The crowd cheered, their enthusiasm washing over her like a warm wave. As a spontaneous applause broke out, Clara found herself joining in, cheering louder than she meant to. It felt exhilarating, connected. It was more than just a performance for David. This was life happening. This was community, family, and love all wrapped in one. The performance ended with twirls and bows, and the diner erupted with applause. Clara stood there, tears of joy welling in her eyes, feeling the weight of the world lift off her shoulders. In that blissful moment, in that diner filled with laughter, she felt strong, like she might be able to carry them through whatever lay ahead. But just then, Clara's phone buzzed again, a new message lighting up the screen. She hesitated, her heart dropping a bit as dread returned. Could it be that Marcus had more to say? Just when she felt the tiniest bit of stability, was she being yanked down again? She glanced back up at David, whose face shone with pride. Clara felt that familiar stir of determination. But could she truly stand firm against the storm that Marcus might bring this time? As she took a deep breath and read the new message, a thought took root in her mind, a decision that could change everything. What if she chose to fight for her family by not only believing in their dreams, but also defining what happiness meant for them all? Clara's hands trembled slightly as she read the new message. It was a familiar tone, the kind that had become an unwanted soundtrack in her life. Marcus had always known how to get under her skin, but that evening, amid the cheers and camaraderie in the diner, she felt a flicker of resolve. "Clara, we need to talk. You can't just ignore this. You need to remember what's at stake," the text read, cold and precise. A lump formed in her throat again, but this time, it wasn't fear, it was anger. She glanced at David, who was now being squeezed in a tight hug by Lily. His laughter rang out, infectious and bright. The night seemed to shimmer with potential, yet Marcus's words loomed like a storm cloud. Forget him. Focus on now, she whispered to herself, but it was hard to drown out his demands. She could feel the tendrils of doubt creeping back, threatening to strangle her newfound hope. Clara stepped away from the crowd, seeking solace in the diner's small, cozy kitchen area. The bright overhead light cast a warm glow, and she took a moment to breathe, to gather herself as the echoes of laughter faded, replaced by the gentle hum of the refrigerator. What did happiness mean for them? She had fought long and hard to build a life for her family, one that wasn't dictated by Marcus's expectations. It was time to redefine it. For years, she had walked on eggshells, accommodating his whims. But that was in the past. Today was about David and Lily. Today was about connection, love, and amazing possibilities. An idea struck her like a lightning bolt. What if she organized a community showcase? A day where talent could shine, where they could all leap just like David had on stage into something greater than themselves. It could be a place not only for their little family, but for others too, a cozy gathering of voices and dreams. Clara. Tom's voice rang from the main area, pulling her out of her reverie. You've got to see this. Curiosity flickered in her heart as she made her way back. The crowd was buzzing more than ever. As she stepped back into the main room, she noticed a group of people gathered around a table. David was animatedly talking to them, sharing his joy and excitement from the performance. Clara's heart swelled at the sight. Clara, we were just discussing how amazing David was. We've been thinking, what if we host regular showcases right here? The suggestion sent a thrill through her. We could really do that? Clara asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. Absolutely. Look around. We have talent here, and people who haven't even shown what they can do yet. It's a goldmine of opportunity, one of the patrons explained joyfully. Clara's pulse quickened at the rising energy. I would love to help organize that, she said, feeling that initial spark of excitement ignite once more. But somewhere in the back of her mind, that voice still whispered. Would Marcus allow that? Would he negatively impact this burst of creativity? The crowd's laughter filled her ears, a gentle push against Marcus's shadow. Clara understood the stakes were high, but she felt an unwavering determination to protect the warmth around her, to draw strength from it. Let us do it, then, she affirmed, raising her chin slightly. Let's make it happen. As the group cheered, she felt empowered, excited about the future. Yet, the uncertainty of Marcus lingered. What repercussions would he pull in response? Would he try to stomp out this light, or dread creeping in? Would he come back with his usual demands? With the evening swirling around her, Clara took a deep breath. One thing was certain, she was done letting fear drive her decisions. Could she really stand her ground against Marcus and hold on to this newfound community? Before she could dwell too long on it, her phone buzzed again. She could feel her heart race, bracing herself as she picked it up, eyes darting to the screen. What now? Clara's fingers hovered over the phone screen, pulse racing. The message from Marcus felt like a punch, an unwelcome reminder of the weight he still held over her life. You know how this goes. Don't think you can escape. Each word was like ice slicing through her moment of joy. She swallowed hard and stared at the screen, the laughter from the diner outside juxtaposed against the cold reality of her situation. But then she heard someone call her name, snapping her back. Turning, she saw Lily bounding toward her, a beaming smile lighting up her face. Clara, you have to come dance with us. Her enthusiasm was infectious and slightly entrancing. Clara felt the tension in her shoulders slowly start to melt away. I'm not sure. Clara hesitated, the memory of Marcus creeping back in. Please? It's gonna be amazing. Lily's eyes sparkled, filled with encouragement. One look at that sweet face and Clara could feel her resolve strengthen. Okay, just a little, she relented, and as they joined the crowd, David spotted her and waved his arms in excitement. Clara allowed herself to melt into the music. She danced, shaking off the remnants of Marcus's text, losing herself in the moment. Laughter here, joy there, all around her. She felt alive, But just as she began to fully embrace the sense of freedom, her phone buzzed again. Damn it, she mumbled under her breath, turning her back to the crowd to read it. Another message from Marcus. I'll be in town tomorrow. Let us meet to discuss this showcase nonsense. You know it won't work. The music faded, a heavy realization sinking in her stomach. The showcase, this spark of a new beginning, was about to be snuffed out by him. Clara's breath hitched as the reality of his power seeped back in. In that moment, she felt torn between her fear and the desire to create something beautiful. The laughter and dancing continued around her, but all she could see was Marcus's cold, demanding face. She remembered the warmth of the diner's laughter, and a surge of defiance shot through her. No, she murmured fiercely, he doesn't get to decide. Drawing a deep breath, Clara stepped away from the crowd again, heading towards the large window. The view outside glittered with city lights like stars, distant and inviting. The potential of what could be made her heart race, and she gripped the ledge tightly. Clara. Tom called again, motioning her back toward the crowd. We need you for the next song. His voice held hope, a promise of community. It was the very thing she was fighting for. Just a second. She shouted back, determination bubbling inside her. In that moment, she understood. She wouldn't let Marcus dictate what her family could build. She would have that community showcase. She would give David and Lily the chance to shine. Revisiting the lyrics of joy and love, she turned back and faced the bubbling energy in the diner. Each heartbeat felt stronger. But would it be enough? Could she stand her ground against Marcus tomorrow? The sky outside seemed to darken, matching her spiraling thoughts. With a deep breath, she started back toward the crowd, resolve building within her. Then, just as she pushed through the doorway, she felt the phone vibrate once more. The words flashed across the screen like a warning. We can talk, but remember the consequences. Clara's heart raced. What now? Would she brave the confrontation, or would fear pull her back? The lights flickered overhead, momentarily shaking her confidence. But amidst that uncertainty, one thought rang loud and clear this time. She was ready to stand and fight. The evening was far from over, and the stakes had never felt higher. What would she say when she faced Marcus? Would her resolve hold? As Clara re-entered the diner, the music's vibrant pulse settled back into her veins, blending seamlessly with her racing heart. The crowd was alive, a whirlpool of laughter and infectious joy. Yet, deep inside, a storm brewed, one that threatened to break through the cheerful facade she tried so hard to maintain. She spotted David throwing his hands up, clearly the life of the party. The moment she approached, his energy enveloped her, pushing away the shadows Marcus had cast over her thoughts. Clara, you're just in time. We need your magic, he exclaimed, pulling her toward the crowd. Magic? She echoed, feigning enthusiasm despite the gnawing dread inside her. Yeah, just think of the showcase. We'll make it the best one yet. His eyes gleamed with excitement, truly convinced they could pull this off. Clara offered a weak smile, aware that tomorrow's encounter loomed like a dark cloud. Write the showcase, she muttered, forcing the words through clenched teeth. With each movement on the dance floor, Clara fought against Marcus's voice in her head. The rhythm was infectious, and soon, she found herself swaying, allowing the music to lift her spirits temporarily. For a fleeting moment, she felt weightless, almost forgetting why she was anxious. But just as she twirled, lost in the beat, the feeling of vulnerability came rushing back. Hey, what's on your mind? Lily's gentle question pierced through the noise, and Clara turned to her friend. The concern etched on Lily's face was unmistakable. Just thinking about tomorrow, she admitted, lowering her voice as if the walls could hear. Oh, Clara, Lily said softly, you can do this. He's not in charge of your life anymore. Isn't he? Clara frowned, uncertainty bubbling to the surface. He always finds a way to twist things. It never seems like enough. Then let us show him how wrong he is. Lily beamed with determination, and it struck Clara how much she wanted to protect this vibrant spark in the girl. As they resumed dancing, Clara's breath steadied in tandem with the music. For the first time that evening, the idea began to anchor itself within her. What if she faced Marcus head-on with a confidence he'd never expect? What if she took control of her own narrative, allowing her dreams to take shape in a way he couldn't disrupt? Clara felt a truce in her heart. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was for David, for Lily, and for everyone who believed in them. The showcase wasn't merely her idea, but a beacon of their community, a place where their voices could be heard real, raw, and unapologetically bright. Just when Clara was ready to dive deeper into that conviction, a shadow flickered at the corner of her eye, a tall figure entering the diner. Her heart dropped. It was Marcus. He scanned the room, his piercing gaze making a beeline toward her. The energy shifted. Conversation subdued, and laughter turned to whispers. As if time stood still, Clara's world shrank to just the two of them. "Clara," he said, his voice smooth but cold, cutting through the chatter. "We need to talk." In that moment, the music faded, the crowd blurred, and she felt a rush of panic. Yet within that twilight of fear, a flame ignited. This was it. This was the confrontation she needed. "Not now, Marcus," she replied, her voice steady despite her trembling hands. "Not when I have something so much bigger at stake." The air crackled with tension, his surprised expression revealing both anger and disbelief. Clara held her breath, a mix of fear and defiance surging through her. Would she be able to maintain her ground, or would the weight of his influence break her? The crowd watched in silence, the stakes hanging high. What would Clara decide in that critical moment? Would she back down, or would she rise to the challenge? As the eyes of everyone in the diner were upon her, she felt the weight of her friends' hopes and dreams behind her, and so, the next chapter of this unfolding battle awaited, the outcome teetering on the edge of courage and fear. What would Clara choose? The tension in the diner was palpable as Clara stood at the precipice of her fate, staring down the familiar yet menacing figure of Marcus. The music that had once enveloped her in warmth was now a distant echo, leaving her feeling starkly exposed. "Clara," Marcus repeated, now inches away, his face taut with demand. "This is embarrassing. You need to come home with me." Clara felt the eyes of the diners upon her, their whispers swirling around her like a protective cloak. She shifted, grounding herself and feeling the supportive energy radiating from the crowd. A glance at Lily, bouncing with excitement despite the shadows looming, reignited the fire inside her. "I'm not going anywhere," Clara replied firmly, her voice steady. "Not when we're on the verge of something amazing." The murmurs in the diner quickly intensified, with patrons exchanging glances, some nodding in support, others looking concerned. Tom, standing nearby, stepped forward. "You should let her speak, Marcus. This is about more than you two. It's about community, dreams, and hope." Marcus's demeanor shifted slightly, as if he momentarily considered the gravity of the hour. "This is a foolish waste of time, Clara. You're overreacting. Our lives don't revolve around some performance at a diner." "Why not?" Clara challenged, her voice rising with conviction. "Why shouldn't it revolve around joy? We deserve happiness, Marcus. I deserve to pursue my dreams and give these kids a chance at theirs." The air around them crackled, the crowd palpably drawing closer, brimming with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. Clara's heart raced. This is about Lily, about David, about all the kids who never got the chance to shine. They have talent that is just waiting to burst through. Lily looked up at her mother, wide-eyed with admiration, while David stood beside her, his own determination palpable. "You're right, Clara," he piped up, emboldened by her courage. "We can do this. Let us show you, Marcus. We can build something great together." Tears pricked at Clara's eyes, but she fought back the emotion, pushing forward. "You're right, David. This diner, this moment, it's our start. It's a step toward a brighter future. But I need that future to not only include me but you as well." Marcus frowned, visibly uncomfortable with the shift, and perhaps with the realization that Clara had finally grown. "So, this is what you want? To make a spectacle of yourself?" Clara planted her feet more firmly. "No, it's not. This is about lifting up our dreams and sharing them. We're more than just cogs in a machine, Marcus. People will always doubt you, he shot back, his voice shaking. But it was those doubts that fueled me to rise. Clara exclaimed, the strength in her voice echoing through the diner. It's not just me dreaming. It's everyone here who wants to lift each other up. This is how we redefine what happiness is. At that moment, the old, familiar weight on Clara's shoulders began to melt away. Marcus' icy expression faltered for just a moment, his eyes flickering with doubt. You think you can just decide this for everyone? Yes, Clara shouted, her spirit bursting forth. Yes, I can. And today I choose joy. Joy for my children, for our community, and for our dreams. I won't back down anymore, Marcus. You can't control me. The room erupted. Patrons cheered and clapped, their support enveloping Clara like an embrace. She felt weightless, empowered. See? This is what it means to believe in each other. Tom called out, the crowd behind him now inspired. Light, laughter, and love filled every corner of the diner, drowning out the bitter chill Marcus tried to instill. With the vehemence of her people lifting her higher, Clara turned back to Marcus, each heartbeat a reminder of the choice she made. If you can't support us, then you've missed the magic of kindness and resilience. Marcus recoiled, his anger shifting away to something almost resembling regret. You think you've won, but I'll be back, he warned, his voice cracking. You can't just erase our life together. Clara stood tall, heart racing as she faced him down one last time. But I can start fresh. One last glance at Lily and the diners gave her strength. Tomorrow, I will meet with the community to set up our showcase, she finally declared, her voice unwavering. It's time we show the world what true happiness and family look like. Her eyes blazed with defiance, and the crowd surged with energy, their cheers echoing around the diner like thunder. Let us create the magic, Clara shouted. Marcus hesitated, a defeated look washed over him as Clara's commitment became undeniable. With one last glare, he turned and stormed out of the diner, the heavy door slamming shut behind him. As the crowd erupted into jubilant applause, Clara felt a rush of relief, followed by an overwhelming tide of emotion as she turned and knelt beside Lily and David. They enveloped her with warmth, laughter spilling forth as tears of joy glistened in her eyes. I did it, didn't I? She whispered, drawing strength from their presence. You did, Lily shouted, her eyes sparkling with pride. That was incredible, David exclaimed, beaming. You showed him. Clara drew her children close, the diner's energy becoming a gentle hum that wrapped around them like a loving embrace. And as the music swelled again, Clara felt ready not just to take on tomorrow, but to conquer the universe. This was their moment. This was their legacy. With dreams ignited and hearts aligned, they would stand together, strong and unshakable, ready to face whatever came next, hand in hand, as a family. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and let's get this message out where it belongs. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring conclusion. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. The moment is now, and only true fans understand the importance of supporting this journey.